Renegades, rebels, and outlaws. For one last episode and for one last time, welcome to the Chong Show, episode 15 with Foxyheals. It has been a long time, to say the least. It has been a minute. But after all these years, the Chong Show comes full circle, back with my old partner in crime, and we take the final episode here tonight to where it all began for Foxyheals, the Shrine of Fellowship here in the Jade Forest of Pandaria. And of course, this is where, back in 2014, Foxyheals debuted against Kalindal, the reigning SNF champion, dethroned Kalindal, who was probably the best rogue to ever fight for the Crossed Hammers, and then the next week won their first championship against yours truly at the Shadowpan Monastery right over next door in Kunlai. Foxyheals, it's been a while since we've heard from you on Revolution Radio, now Iron Warlord, the channel dedicated to IronWarlordTV. How have you been?
Been hanging in there, man. How you been?
I've been fantastic here. So we are
good.
reunited after all these years. Who would have thought? I think the last episode was Smokey the Bear. I interviewed Smokey the Bear, and then we've kind of been on hiatus, both with the Chong Show and everything else. A lot has transpired in the meantime. Let's cover that real quick. In 2018, I decided to close the doors down on the guilds. They are still active. They are still around, but we are no longer actively recruiting. It's kind of just a safe haven and a home for members that want to come back and play or whatever else. The decision behind that was basically because Battle for Azeroth was a little lackluster in content. We lost some key members on the Alliance side, and I was just, quite frankly, burnt out. I didn't want to recruit. I didn't want to bring in new players. I didn't want to go through all that again. And so I decided to call it then and there and put the guild on indefinite hiatus. Fast forward to 2019. I get a friend request from the one and only Country Rebel, a.k.a. Foxyheals. A little bit later on, we get to play in Hearthstone Battlegrounds. Fast forward to the fall of 2020. Country Rebel says they're back into WoW. I get back into WoW, and here we are, united yet again in Azeroth and for the Chong Show episode 15. That's basically what has transpired up till now. Quick recap of past events. Foxyheals, what's been going on with you since we last spoke and since you were last on the Chong Show?
Not much. I took a hiatus from pretty much everything for a couple years, and then started playing Hearthstone just periodically when I had time, and then gradually just started playing more and more and more, and ended up getting myself a laptop, and the gaming fever started all over again. And woke up one day and had a wild hair, so to speak, and downloaded WoW, and here we are.
Here we are. And it's one of those things, you know, never say never when you leave WoW, because it's one of those games, it's the old constant. You always end up coming back, even if it's just to check things out and then leave again. All right. All these years, all these interviews we've done, 14 previous episodes, a couple of them you missed out on, but finally it is your turn to be interviewed. So let's start things off. How did you end up joining the Crossed Hammers and Alliance Revolution?
Well, it was, 2016, I think it was. He was on a paladin, and I was healing, and I think I got plugged in to come heal a raid, and then I liked the group. I was asked to come back and heal some more on the next raiding night, and I came back, had even more fun the second time around, and thought the guild was cool, and liked everybody in it. So I made a priest, and I power leveled the priest up to whatever it was at the time, 110 or 90. I don't even remember now. But and switched out my paladin heals for my priest heals because it had more utility and more usefulness. And um, pretty much from there, just moved all my tunes that I had from one by one into Alliance Revolution.
And then the rest is history.
The rest is history.
So from there, you started into the Sunday night fights. You came out. You jumped right in, right here at the Shrine of Fellowship. Let's talk about your Sunday night fights career. Obviously, everybody knows within the guild, you healed for raiding, healed for arena, but it was really the Sunday night fights where you shined, racking up 9 championships, becoming one of the greatest healers to ever step into the arena, and undoubtedly the greatest priest to ever do it. And of course, you won the 2014 Champions Brawl. It was 2014 when you joined the guild, I believe.
2014.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's what you're most known for. You know, you are the Phenom, 9 championships, a season championship, so on and so forth. What would you say your favorite opponent was? Who was your favorite opponent? Obviously, you've had a lot of rivals throughout the years, but who is your favorite specific character opponent?
Man, that's a hard question. Can't really name one down. A lot of them were very fun, very nerve wracking battles. Um, I would have to say either Javar or maybe M.
Em will be delighted to hear that, I'm sure, and I'm honored as well because you've fought quite a few, from Kalendal to Big Dad and many other names that past and present members, alumni, so on and so forth. All right, favorite overall player, regardless of what character. Glenn Moreau, Cathalis, they really kind of played the same character throughout their careers. But even then, if you want to mention them, you can mention them. But favorite player to fight, favorite rival player.
Rival. That'd have to be you, man. I mean, between you and I would say Big, but I mean, being the other healer, it wasn't really a battle between us. It was more of a, goof off and
grind to the
sling
finish,
spells,
as I always
sling
called it.
spells for a couple minutes. Yeah.
Right.
We always knew it was going to come to a roll of the dice when it was us. So, yeah, you made me bash my fist in my desk so many times. It's
Two memories come to mind right off the bat when I think of our rivalry. The first one that came to mind was the death match. Now, for those of you who don't know, we used to do war games, 5v5, Warsong Gulch, so on and so forth. At the end, the winning team would split into a 5-way death match for the championship. Javar's team had won, I believe, and Rory was the healer. And you were my pocket healer for that death match. And then right before the end, I dropped group and jabbed the dagger in. That was brutal.
Yeah, that was one of the very first times that I learned to always have my hands on the mouse and the keyboard around you.
Right, very Machiavellian with the death match. I was, and my strategy and my tactics. Nobody was safe. and I was notorious for forming alliances before the death match began. But the other memory, Javar and Foxyheals, you were known for mind controlling and fearing, and I think I took it. We had a duel in the Keranos, right outside of Ironforge, and I ran inside the Thunderbrew Inn to kind of close the gap, to kind of force you into a close quarters. And man, I remember you were raging at that one. We were in close quarters in there fighting through the Thunderbrew Inn, Javar versus Foxyheals at Keranos. I believe that was the Renegades Invitational. Obviously, there's many other memorable moments. Chong and Foxyheals at Shadowpan Monastery, where you won your first title. The list goes on and on and on. But I'm very honored. I would have to agree. If I had to say, what was my favorite rival, it would probably be you as well. We've had some epic, memorable moments, whether it was tank versus heals or DPS versus heals. I always knew you were going to get a good show, but it was Iron Warlord versus Country Rebel. Final question pertaining to SNF.
Okay.
Your favorite arena?
Yeah. Papa Ice Crown. Papa Ice Crown, because Papa Ice Crown is where well, we said his name earlier. That stupid druid. What was his name?
Smokey the Bear.
Smokey the Bear. Yep. Smokey the Bear landed the killing blow, and without any kind of remorse or anything, just attacked and without. Oh man, it still. I still get teary eyed just thinking about it. Yeah, just in general, Ice Crown, because we've had so many good battles and big names up there. Yeah.
That was where we always had the Champions Brawl, which was like the Super Bowl for the Sunday Night Fight season, which would go January through June usually. And the reason why I picked it was not only the fact that we raided there, Ice Crown, Lich King, Heroic 25-man, some of the best times I've had raiding with the guild and as raid lead, but also because that was the historic location of Arthas versus Illidan, Death Knight versus Demon Hunter. So I always thought that was such an iconic location where that duel took place, where our guild had so much history to have that. That was a conscious decision. And I would have to agree, that would probably be my favorite arena as well. So no surprise there. Smokey the Bear, if you're listening in the present or in the future, keep in mind, Country Rebel did say earlier that he liked the group. That's why he joined the guild. So all these years, if any one of you thought that Foxyheals didn't like you, he admitted it here tonight for all time in the archives that he did like everybody in the guild. So yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
the guild was my second family, man. I mean, no matter what anybody says, I mean, even joking around Smokey, I wouldn't trade the memories of what we did for anything, man. It was good times.
It really was, and it's surreal for many reasons tonight. As we have this beautiful backdrop in the distance there, it's surreal because who would have thought years ago when I went on the Chong Show episode 10 and said, hey, Foxyheals left, and we press on and this and that, and who would have thought that all these years later you'd be back? Who would have thought we even would be here doing a final farewell episode to the Chong Show? It's surreal, and I'm glad it has happened, and I'm really glad for all of our viewers watching and for Foxyheals to be back. I'm glad we could all come together for one last hurrah here at the Shrine of Fellowship. What a perfect spot to have this final episode. So one of the coolest things, before we get to the next question, that I just want to talk about here is in Battle for Azeroth at AFC 20, I believe, on the Guild's 10-year anniversary. We had so many new faces that just came out to watch. And so many of them were blown away by our AFC event. And so many other members throughout the years have said how blown away they were by our SNF, by our war games, by all of our original events that we did. And so for me to hear you say that you wouldn't trade anything for the memories and what we did, it means a lot to me as the GM, as the guild master, because to me, we created something as a guild, as a community, entirely outside of raiding or dungeons. And that's really special. So I hope that everybody, all of our officers and members throughout the years watching this, I hope they all share that same sentiment, because that means a lot to me. And we did have some really good times, didn't we, partner?
We did. You know, and it wasn't even about SNF and AFC and stuff like that. I mean, those are great memories, but it's little things like, what was it? Goes across dang it. What was the goes across Northrend? Or was it Elephants Across Northrend?
Oh yeah. Well, I'm
No,
just
I was thinking it was
saying
goats.
the Sunday night fights in AFC and the war games were great conduits for
Oh.
the memories, and they were unique
yeah.
memories that no other guild really has. But what you're talking about is the March of the Goats we did. Yeah, we were, and here's let's fill the audience in. We were leveling Rory and McGregor, and we were moving over to Grizzly Hills, and we started the March of the Goats, and a few other people came out slowly one by one from the guild, and we had this small army of goats marching across Northrend. It was brilliant. The other memory I'm sure you'll remember fondly was the Mammoth Parade.
Yes.
That was years after that was even a thing. But I remember in Northrend all the time you'd see Mammoth Parades or you'd see bike parades. Everybody get on their Mechaneer chopper. We had all the mammoths lined up, and then there was one guy in the back with his little pink Alec bringing up the rear. I agree.
Cat, wasn't it?
I agree, man. Those were who? No. those were good times, and they were in between the Sunday night fights. So like you said, it wasn't just Sunday night fights. It wasn't just AFC or war games. It was the little zany stuff we did in between that really made it count. And that's going to translate into our next topic. That's going to translate to Iron Warlord TV, eventually Country Rebel TV, the stuff that we do on stream and on YouTube. Because what I want to do, the dream is to take the community, to take the innovation and carry that over, take it from a micro level where it was just our guild and transfer it to a macro level in front of an audience of hundreds, maybe thousands. We'll see what transpires. But that's the dream, to take those zany moments in between, to take the events and transfer that over towards our streaming content and share that with a wider audience and build a community based on that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the future of WOAR Entertainment. Iron Warlord TV, Country Rebel TV. We're going to have a lot of fun here. And we've talked about the past. Foxy, you've been interviewed. Those are the same questions I've asked Glenn Moreau, Big Dad, Smokey the Bear. So I think it's time to move on and talk about the future. That is the future. Iron Warlord TV, streaming, YouTube. We're going to have a lot of fun with that. And I want to announce here tonight, the whole reason I wanted to do this final episode of the Chong Show was to bridge the gap, to take, Revolution Radio into the future, transform it into Iron Warlord's YouTube channel, my YouTube channel, and say, hey, this is goodbye to Revolution Radio, to that content. And make no mistake, I'm not removing any of it. It'll be there. It's in the archives. It's staying up on the YouTube channel. Same with the Twitch. You can go back and watch all of our old events. But heading forward, we will be doing streaming content, gaming reviews, hell, maybe even a podcast. We'll see. But this is the bridge between Revolution Radio and what we have done and what we're going to do. All that said, let's talk about what specifically we're going to be doing. Obviously, World of Warcraft. I think that the game is in a rough spot right now. But I think things are going to turn around. And regardless, we will be here. I will be here. We will be streaming World of Warcraft. We will be covering World of Warcraft on YouTube as well. The old pillar, the old cornerstone. Hearthstone, not a surprise there. We streamed last week, was the first week where I streamed Monday through Friday. We had a lot of fun with Battlegrounds. We still have a lot of fun with Battlegrounds. That's something we're going to be doing, as well as some ranked, and we'll be trying out the new Mercenaries mode. The third game, Red Dead Online. If you haven't played it, Smokey the Bear, those of you out there that haven't played it, check it out. If you want to come join the posse, we'd love to have guildies involved. We'd love to get the community involved as well. Same with our fourth game we'll be playing, Valheim. And we will be returning to that regularly. All these games we'll be returning to regularly as they add new content. So, Foxy, out of those 4 games, obviously those are kind of our 4 pillar games that we're going to play together and kind of rotate around and always come back to based on content releases. We're variety streamers on within reason, so to speak, right? We're not trying a new game out every week. We're rotating between 4 games that we always come back to, and then we're going to branch off. But out of those 4, what are you looking forward to kind of exploring and expounding upon as we head forward on the stream the most?
Well, I think, like we've said before, I don't know if you mentioned it, but as far as WoW goes, we're going to be doing mostly gear runs and nut runs and kind of just having fun, a little bit of PvP, nothing too overly strenuous. Playing new content when it comes out, of course. Valheim, we're going to be mostly just building stuff and maybe opening up a community server for everybody. And then as we grow and build that area, we'll see what else we could do. Maybe some archery contest or some kind of PvP thing, or building designs or something. I don't know. Red Dead is always fun. I mean, it's kind of like an endless content type thing. Whether it be just hunting and fishing, or bounty boards, or taking over a town for a few minutes, or just whatever. I mean, Red Dead is always fun. And then what was the other one?
Hearthstone.
Hearthstone is kind of limited on what we can do. I mean, we have Battlegrounds, we have Mercenary mode when it comes out, we have Arena, which we don't do, and we have some other things there. That's going to be our go-to. And then with my stream, when I get that up and running, I'm gonna toss in a new game once a month. I have quite a few of them downloaded, and I've started playing, tinkering with here and there. Everything from World of Tanks to Star Wars to PlanetSide 2, Castle Crashers, Blessed Unleashed. Just a little bit of everything here and there as it comes along, and we'll try it out for a month and play it, and hopefully it's a good game, and we can bring that into IronWarlordTV and make it another pillar.
Right.
But so far, that's the plan.
Right, and I'd like to expound upon that, what Country Rebel talked about, where we try a new game out. So how that's going to work is we have a couple games that we want to try. Final Fantasy XIV and New World are the first on the list. How that's going to work. Starting next Friday, or this Friday. Of course, this will be irrelevant if you're watching this in the past or in the future, excuse me. We're going to try a new game out. We will try it for a month. If it's good, as Country Rebel said, we incorporate that into our rotation. In the future, we will have viewers vote on what new games they want us to try. And that'll be a once-a-month thing.
Of course.
What's that?
Within reason, of course.
Well, they can vote, but we're going to put the games that we, on the list.
Yeah, there you go. That's nicely said.
Yeah, we're going to control the options, but they'll control the option that we play. But that's really it. Exactly what Country Rebel said. Just wanted to expound on that and say that we will be opening it up to votes down the road. And one final thing. You were talking about Hearthstone. You were talking about Valheim and doing events and stuff. That's exactly what I was talking about earlier. The whole goal of our channels is to take what we did with the guild, the memories, the laughs, the events, and transfer it over to a wider community. Hearthstone tournaments with viewers, dueling tournaments, whether it be in Valheim or WoW, that's all on the table. And that is all still to come. Let's take it back to you and the interview on this final episode of the Chong Show. We'll start with, since we started with your entry into the guild, your favorite moment in your time in the Alliance Revolution.
Oh, man. You're asking hard questions tonight, ain't you?
Always.
Always. I can't. Man, there's so many. I honestly, man, I can't really narrow it down. Because again, there's just so many. Whether it be the event after hours or the listening to you rage while we're raiding because someone stood in fire, or us just shooting the breeze and trolling trade chat. Definitely the vent laughs, man. If I had to say one, that's probably it right there. Just the after hours and the nonchalant BSing with everybody in vent.
Not necessarily the bricks, but the mortar that kind of held them all together, right? The moments in between.
Right.
Collectively.
Yeah, it's just everything. The whole shebang, man. There was nothing in particular. It was just everything all together. It's a good time. Wouldn't trade it.
Likewise, my friend, likewise. It has been a good run. And one final question here, Foxyheals. Your favorite moment in your Sunday Night Fight / War Game / AFC career?
Oh, man. Probably taking down Kalindle the first time. That's what started everything.
Yeah.
And the anticipation I felt that night, and then slowly just draining it down. That was favorite moment right there.
Yeah, that puts you on the map. If you're going to make a debut like that. That puts you on the map right off the bat as a contender. One of the best debuts I can remember. And I'm sure anybody who was there that night will not forget it anytime soon. We've talked a lot about memories, about laughs, about events, about what has been. And we've talked a little bit tonight about what's to come. But really, this episode was just to wrap everything up and put a nice, pretty bow on the Chong Show with one final episode and with Foxyheals. And with all that said, we look to the future now and we press on. That's going to do it for the Chong Show, episode 15. It has been quite the ride up to this point. and it will be quite the ride heading forward. That is the Phenom Foxyheals. This is Chong, and that was a well-timed bow, by the way. That was amazing.
Yes, it was. It was coordinated.
That was great. That'll do it, ladies and gentlemen, for the Chong Show, for us here tonight on the final episode of the Chong Show. It has been an honor. Thank you to all of our guests over the years who have come on to the show and talked with us. Welldog, Herlock, Big Dad, Glenn Moreau, Amelia. The list goes on. Cathalus. I am so thankful to all of our viewers, to all of our guild members, and to all of those that came on to the show. As good as it's been, the best is still yet to come. And as I said, as to the bold new future and the new frontier and the future of WOAR Entertainment on IronWarlordTV and Country Rebel TV, we press on.